Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Frequency Shift podcast with Alexis Gallagher and Susan Elliott. And we are on the very end of the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wattles. And so we're on chapter 15, 16, 17. And basically we're exploring these very powerful chapters, and they kind of tie it all together, the entire philosophy that Wattles is teaching. And he's talking about how do you show gratitude in multiple ways, and how thinking in a certain way aligns with the opportunity, and how taking efficient action creates predictable forward momentum. So this part of the book is where your mindset, your energy, your action, they merge into a practical formula for wealth creation. And we want you to walk away with a deeper understanding of how to stay connected to source, how to think from abundance instead of lack, and how to act in a way that consistently moves you towards your goals. So the chapter that we're starting with today is 15, and he's talking about the advancing personality. He says, what I have said in the last chapter applies as well to the professional person and the wage earner as to the person who is engaged in selling or any other form of business. No matter whether you are a physician, a teacher, a clergyman, you can give increase of life to others and make them sensible of the fact they will be attracted to you and you will get rich. The physician who holds the vision of himself as a great and successful healer, and who works toward the complete realization of that vision with faith and purpose, as described in former chapters, will come into such close touch with the source of life that he will phenomenally successful. Patients will come to him in throngs. So, and he goes on talking about, like I said, like I read earlier, you don't have to be a physician to be super successful. You can leave others with increase if you're a waitress, if you're selling something, whatever it is, you can progress. And that's what he talks about throughout this whole book. You don't have to be in a specific vocation or specific position to be successful and get rich. And I know when I first heard that, I was like, well, no, that can't be. But if abundance is endless, it's all around you, and supply and sources in you, it's impossible not to if you apply the principles in the right way. So he goes on, he says, we need the preacher who will himself be rich, healthy, great, and beloved to teach us how to attain to these things. And when he comes, he will find numerous and loyal following. The same is true of the teacher who can inspire the children with faith and purpose of the advancing life. He will never be out of a job, and any teacher who has this faith and purpose can give it to his pupils. He cannot help giving it to them if it is part of his own life and practice. He says, what is true of the teacher, preacher, and physician is true of the lawyer, dentist, real estate agent, and insurance agent, of everybody. The combined mental and personal action I've described is infallible. It cannot fail. Every man and woman who follows these instructions steadily, perseveringly, and to the letter will get rich. The law of increase of life is a mathematical certain in its operation as the law of gravity. So that's so powerful.
It really is, yeah. Yeah. I love this chapter because for a long time, was chasing, myself around in my head thinking, what vocation do I need to get into, make some money here, and I would tire myself out mentally so much playing that game that then I wouldn't have energy to follow it up anywhere. And then when I heard this, it was just like, wow, like that was such a relief. And then it also let me really call into, well, what do I really want?
Right. So, and most of these great teachers, they say, stop chasing the money and start chasing your greatness. Who do I need to become to be better? How do I become a better Susan? That's the question to ask. The better the question, the more you dive in and find out about yourself and quit chasing the money. Because
Hmm.
when you start being in alignment with universal law and your passion and what it is you truly want, then the money comes.
Yes.
There is a power that never fails to present opportunity to the advancing personality who is moving in obedience to law. God cannot help helping you if you act in a certain way. He must do so in order to help himself. There is nothing in your circumstances or in the industrial situation that can keep you down. If you cannot get rich working for the Still Trust, you can get rich on a 10-acre farm. And if you begin to move in a certain way, you will certainly escape from the clutches of the steel truss and get onto the farm or wherever else it is you wish to be.
Hmm.
So, like I said, yeah, you don't have to be in a specific vocation. And like Alexis said too, it's like, oh, what job do I need to apply for? What do and so that's chasing something. And the more you're in tune with your true purpose, then like I said, the money is gonna follow. So that's these are really short chapters. We're already into chapter 16. And he says some cautions and concluding observations. He says many people will scoff at the idea there is an exact science of getting rich, holding the impression that the supply of wealth is limited. They will insist that social and governmental institutions must be changed before even any considerable number of people can acquire competence. But this is not true. It is true that existing governments keep the masses in poverty, but this is because the masses do not think and act in a certain way. If the masses begin to move forward as suggested in this book, neither government nor industrial systems can check them. All systems must be modified to accommodate the forward movement. So, yeah, and the certain way has to do with your attitude, and it also has to do with understanding and applying universal laws and being in alignment with those laws. So you're acting in a certain way, that you are already going to obtain your goal because creation's already finished. Everything already is. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that is what Bob taught us. And I believe it and I know it to be true. Always speak in terms of advancement. To do otherwise is to deny your faith, and to deny your faith is to lose it. Never allow yourself to feel disappointed. You may expect to have a certain thing at a certain time and not get it at that time, and this will appear to you like failure. But if you hold to your faith, you will find that the failure is only apparent. Go on in the certain way, and if you do not receive that thing, you will receive something so much better. You will see that the seeming failure was really a great success. And again, that's hard to believe sometimes because it feels like we come from such a physical world. We only believe what we can see, hear, smell, and taste and touch instead of living in the spiritual. And that's what we're teaching is there is another, like I said, energy is everywhere. And what we're teaching is manifesting and turning that energy into something else. That's what it's about. That's what transformation is about, is
Hmm.
being able to transform into something else.
Yeah, what's been running through my mind lately is working with the unseen. It's like there's so much at work all around us in the unseen parallel. Um, And it's our we get to study and we get to understand it. It's a choice you get to make for yourself, but these laws are always working, so you get to choose if you get in harmony with them and work with them to get you a bigger and better life.
Exactly. So imagination comes to mind when I'm thinking about what Alexis just said. And that's what we have to use. And imagination is in one of our it's one of our higher faculties is to use your imagination. You're already there. We have to remember that the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined with strong emotion. It does not know the difference. If you already imagine and you feel from the end that you've already reached it, then it can't help but manifest. That's a law, that's a universal law.
Hmm.
But the hard part is being able to stay in that higher vibration.
Yeah, that's good. And that's part of what he's saying too, right? It's like never speaking of the failures or the tough times. You always want to speak as you're advancing, right? Like things are great. And it does, it's that tennis match, right? That feels like a lie to yourself. But in a way, you're affirming it to yourself, you're affirming it to the universe, and you're affirming it to whoever's talking to you about it. And then in that regard, too, you're also building increase in their mind as well. And that becomes very powerful. Um, I know it's easy, like an easy way we want to connect. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so expensive here. Oh, it's really tough, because I'm going to say it's a cheap, easy way to connect with people, but you're not doing anybody a service by doing that. So it takes discipline. But when you work your way around it, whether it's just totally changing the subject or saying something else about, well, we can all earn more money or something like that, or just changing the subject if that's easier, then that's the better thing to do.
Exactly. And all the great teachers talk about surrounding yourself with like-minded people. And, so at first, when you first start in this work, it does seem kind of difficult because you say, where are those people? Well, it's because you're on a lower frequency. And so you naturally attract the people that you're in alignment with right now. Well, what you have to do is surround yourself with different people, with different groups. And again, it doesn't have anything to do with thinking you're better than somebody or that they're worse than you. It has to do with surrounding yourself with people that are thinking on the same level, that are wanting to transform their lives, and they have a vision and they're living lives of freedom. And that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to live a life of freedom and live their vision. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, chapter 7 is a summary of the science of getting rich. There is a thinking stuff. I love this part of the book, and he says it over and over throughout this book. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner space of the universe. A thought in the substance produces the thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, a person must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. Otherwise, he cannot be in harmony with formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive in spirit. A person may come into full harmony with the formless substance by entertaining a lively and sincere gratitude for the blessings it bestows upon him. Gratitude unifies the mind of man with the intelligence of substance so that man's thoughts are received by the formless. So he's summarizing it up, and such a great book, great study. And you have to have a certain amount of belief. And I know it does take faith and gratitude and being in alignment. And that's what Alexis and I help people do is we teach this at a deeper level because some of this that we are studying is just scratching the surface. There is so much more to this that we can teach you, such as the higher mental faculties and learning how to use those instead of just always going by what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch.
Yes. And that made me think of, sounds a little silly, my son's in soccer and a teammate's dad was like, "You're gonna get Andre a running coach? I'll help him run faster, you know?" And I never even knew there was a running coach. My point to that is, even though you think you're getting along great and this material's helping you, which is our goal here, you're gonna go faster and better and get your results quicker when you are working with us as your coach. And that's with anything, right? Top NFL teams, top sports teams, Olympians, right? They all have a team of people around them helping them get to their goals faster and better. And that's what Susan and I do here. So you need to know this material through repetition, through deeper understandings, hearing it in different perspectives and things like that. And then just closing out the chapter, I'm doing it right now with the gratitude. I'm remembering to just be grateful for all the little things throughout the day. And it has such a huge and wonderful impact on your life when you're doing that. And so I want to just be grateful for all our listeners out there. I'm so, so grateful for every one of you and for you, Susan. And can't wait to see and hear from you all on our next podcast that we're starting. Well, same podcast, but next book, which is, should we announce it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. That's a phenomenal book, and we're going to be starting it next time. So we'll see you all there. And until then, Susan, do you have anything else?
Oh, just a little bit of summary. So the advancing personality, the person that is advancing always leaves everybody with the impression of increase. And by interacting with them, you're hoping that they feel more hopeful about their own possibilities. You grow richer by helping others grow richer, emphatic, energetically, emotionally, and materially. I can't remember what great leader it was that said, you can get what you want by helping others get what they want. I can't remember which teacher that was, but
I
that,
love that. That's great, though. So,
so thank you.
yeah, thank you. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great evening or day wherever you are, and we will see you next time on The Frequency Shift. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.